Breaking news. Some innocent Russians will be hurt by the sanctions. The Roosevelt administration launched a massive crackdown on Japanese Americans after the 1941 attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii by the Empire of Japan. Thousands of U.S. citizens were relocated to internment camps and made to fend for themselves there during World War II. It was utterly shameful. However, it is important to remember that the idea of a liberal democracy is what made the United States so appealing to so many people around the world, both then and now, and that some Japanese Americans could easily have worked as spies for their fatherland and thus helped the enemy achieve greater losses at America's expense. Dictatorial decrees that limited freedoms made the cause less appealing to many Japanese Americans, so they didn't fight for it. Sanctions have been imposed on Russia and on some of the oligarchs who are part of the autocrats' inner circle ever since Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Putin was forced to seek bilateral agreements with primarily Asian countries to export oil at reduced prices after restrictions on Russian oil exports helped reduce his revenue in hard currency. Since oil's peak in 2022, global prices have remained relatively low thanks to this arrangement, which has also kept Putin's income low. Since their high point last year, oil prices have dropped by more than 25%. The Russian defense industry, which includes the production of smart bombs, missiles, and jet fighters, was the target of sanctions. However, others aimed for the populace at large. Electronics and gadgets are now being sold by unorthodox distributors and retailers at inflated prices. The cost of replacement components for most vehicles has also increased dramatically. The standard of living for the average Russian has clearly dropped as a result of these factors, and the average Russian has not been able to do much about it. Some people are fighting the enemy on the front, while others see it as their patriotic duty to suffer through the shortages. Others, aware of the gravity of the situation, have fled the country or are remaining silent in the expectation that their suffering, like that of Ukraine, will soon be over. Inevitable. It's obvious that a lot of these punishments were inevitable. Many millions of Russians lost access to their money because Western countries largely withdrew international banking and credit card services. Despite the regime's best efforts, living under this system is not a pleasant experience. Envision the people of Nazi Germany in 1941 having free rein to visit any country in the world. Russians can still visit many countries, especially those outside of Europe and North America, but at a higher price. However, many Russians left their country and now live in other European countries, including Cyprus, for a variety of reasons, the most obvious of which is freedom. By ostracizing everyday Russians and making it difficult for them to conduct business and transfer funds, the West isn't winning over the country's citizens. Indeed, that is what it ought to do. Join forces with those who want to see a free and democratic Russia where people can speak, work, and make political and economic choices like they can in the West, and allow Russians in the diaspora to continue to experience the freedom they are denied at home. They would rather see the rule of law implemented in their country than Putin and his chiefs and cronies. Putin has been in power for nearly 25 years, during which time he has consolidated power and corrupted it to an unprecedented degree. He is currently making moves to expand his rule into what he believes are Russian-held territories in the former Soviet republics. His personal goal is to restore Russia's former glory. The United States and its European allies are holding together reasonably well in their resistance to Putin's aggression in Ukraine. They have prevented an easy victory for Putin and given the Ukrainians a chance to show that democracy and freedom are worth fighting for. The West's backing of Ukraine is crucial to the country's chances of winning the war and, one day, bringing those responsible for Vladimir Putin's atrocities to justice. Until then, though, it's unrealistic to expect Russians to view Western policies and goals favorably and to punish them uniformly. We rely on Russian expatriates to not only counter Putin's propaganda but also pave the way for the eventual return of democracy and freedom to Russia. Considering tomorrow and Russia after Putin is not a waste of time.